So what we really want, of course, is to develop permanent, long-term objectivity, not just short-term. That is our definition of self-development. So self-development means developing a long-term, permanent objectivity. Self-development as a process is described as the reduction of ego and egocentric desires. The reason I lack objectivity is because I'm not viewing things from outside of my experience. It's because I'm viewing them personally. I'm personalizing the whole thing and making it all about me. I'm embedded in my desires and feelings. I've got no capacity to stand outside them. The more objective I become, it means the more my self-development, my human maturity has been advanced. So self-development and the development of objectivity, synonyms. What that means is that we are prepared for all changes before they even happen. Okay, so we can say, yes, maybe there'll be an earthquake, maybe my partner will leave me, maybe my kids will shun me, maybe my body will get cancer, maybe my etc. and so on and so on and so forth. But we can't visualize every possibility. If you try and spend all of your time imagining what could happen, you'll never leave the house. You're just writing lists and lists and lists of potentially negative things. So it's not a practical way to live. For certain circumstances, like marriage and family and whatever, then it is useful. But what you want is a strong immune system, as it were, by analogy. If you have a strong immune system, then it means you can go out into any environment. Anyone's home, anyone's bathroom, any restaurant, doesn't matter. You'll be contacting triggers all the time, contacting germs, pathogens all the time. What happens? You don't even notice it because you ingest them and your immune system, strong as it is, simply takes care of them, gets rid of them before they have any effect on your personality. If I have a weak immune system, then the slightest germ that gets to me, it affects me. And so this is in fact why there's a book called The Coddling of the American Mind. And it's talking about this, and it uses this as a great example. He says if you have a home, you're raising your kids in a home that is perfectly sterile, you use disinfectants on every surface, everywhere, all the time. What happens to the child's immune system? It weakens it because it never has that opportunity to fight against germs. And so when they go out to their friend's place, when they go to their school, when they go to the local playground, they pick up one or two germs, the body can't handle it, and they suffer. So too, if our psychological or our spiritual immune system is weak, trigger after trigger after trigger affects us. So we need to develop objectivity. Now he says objectivity develops as we identify with higher values. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to be brief on this. So when we talk about values, what we're discussing are beliefs. If I value something, it means I have it as a belief. So we've got a phrase here, money brings happiness. It's a belief. I believe that money brings happiness. It's another way of saying I have a value for money. Now, is it true or false?
False.
Really? Then I'll happy to take your burden off you then. So what we're saying is that it can bring a certain degree of happiness, but if you max out the amount of happiness that you get from material wealth, you've still got a long way to go before you achieve a feeling of genuine satisfaction. Happiness only brings a certain amount. You've still got the rest here to pick up. So then you get emotions, that helps a bit more. Knowledge helps a bit more. Morality helps a bit more. But there's always going to be something missing. So money brings happiness. It's not entirely false, but it's not very true either. So your values are your beliefs. So when we talk about higher values then, we're talking about beliefs that more accurately represent the reality of your life. Money brings happiness. Not very true. Money has a limited and diminishing capacity to bring happiness. That's a lot more true. It's a higher value. This is what we mean by higher value. So to identify with higher values simply means that we gain insight into the truth of human experience. We are assessing not just one environment and one relationship now, we are assessing the entirety of human experience And when we understand the principles that underlie human experience, then we are objective to anything that we can experience. So there are 3 methods for developing this attunement or identification with higher values, one for each of the equipments: body, mind, and intellect. So for the mind, we have gratitude and devotion. For the intellect, we have philosophical inquiry. And for the body, we have selfless action.